within the Truth in Racial Healing and Transformation framework by the Shriver Center, we must begin with the truth telling. Hello, my name is Zareen Taj, and I'm a Hazara woman, filmmaker, author, and advocate. Over the last 2 decades of my life, I have worked to document, share stories of what has happened to Hazara women's rights issue in Afghanistan, and to call for an end to the genocide against Hazara. Hazara are an ethnic minority who have different, more Asianic facial characteristics and practice a different religion, Shia Islam, than other groups in Afghanistan. These two identities have made us targets by Islamic extremists, including the Taliban and more recently ISIS. My goal is to bring attention to the targeted violence and oppression of Hazara and the specific impacts these forces have on Hazara women who face compounded discrimination. My work also shows how Hazara women become leaders, how they fought for their educations and enter civil society to improve life in Afghanistan. This is a story of survival, hope, and resilience of women and girls. But it is also a story with darkness and hard truths of violence. It is difficult to bear witness to these stories, but it's also important for me to tell the world what has happened to my people. I share these stories to call the global community to act and stop the genocide.
The massacre happening here, especially those people, they were killed in the cities, in Bazaar, and most of the community, and the Taliban.
In 2004, I interviewed many surviving witnesses of Taliban attacks that describe 5 mass killings. What I learned of these attacks reached level of genocide against Hazaras. Many hundreds of males over the age of 13 were killed in violent and extremely painful attacks that happened publicly in front of family members as an act of terror. The Taliban also focused attacks on the faces of Hazara to obliterate their faces and the features of their ethnic identity. Destroying Hazara faces was also the motivation for the destruction of the Buddhas of Bamyan. The Taliban wanted to wipe out all the historical and cultural symbols of Hazara ethnic. By killing Hazara males, the Taliban knew they were destroying the entire family structures, and women and children would starve and suffer without their breadwinners. Hazara shops were burned and trade routes were closed to cut off means of survival and economic livelihoods. After the removal of Taliban and the start of US-backed government in 2001, Hazara thought the genocidal killing and discrimination would end, but it did not.
Now, Afghan officials say at least 20 people have been killed in a powerful explosion at a Shia mosque in the northern city of Mazar-e-Sharif. Dozens of others were injured. This is the second attack in 3 days against the Hazaras.
Previously, attacks were mainly on men. Now, the attacks become systematic and focus on educated Hazara youth and women in particular.
School time was over and we were coming out when a car exploded in front of us.
Since 2016, there have been over 30 large attacks that have killed over 1,000 and wounded many more. All gathering places of Hazara are potential target of attacks. Even mosques are unsafe by these Islamic extremists. The cities we live in our neighborhood in Kabul are targeted. Where can we be safe? Multiple attacks targeted schools to intimidate us from gaining an education. They targeted our children to target our people's future. This is the face the extremists hate. The shape of our face, our eyes, our nose, and our cheekbones tells everyone who we are. These are the faces of girls killed in school bombing in 2021. These are the faces that extremists cannot stop killing.
These babies will never grow to know their mothers. Only hours old, they are the survivors of an attack so horrific, it's shattered a nation accustomed to brazen acts of violence.
Attacks against women, children, and babies serve two goals. They want to remove the next generation of Hazara, and they want to break our hope. How do we survive? How do we carry on? When we gather peacefully to advocate for our people, we are met with bombs. They do not want us to have a political power. They do not want us to be able to speak up. My heart is broken watching my people become numbers of victims. We are left behind to mourn, and the rest of the world looks away. Healing is a process of seeking wholeness as individuals and as a community. Racial healing is to feel whole within our Hazara identity, to be safe from attacks, free to attend school, to work and participate as leaders in civil society. It is hard to change from being a victim and to work to find a way to survive. But that's what many Hazara women did. They refused to stay a victim. They chose to become survivors and fight back. This is Zahra Yagana, who has experienced being a victim of war, domestic violence, and extreme poverty.
روزی که دخترم فوت شد ما با حدی فقیر بودم که ما نتونستم ساعت 1 بجه شب دخترم فوت شد ما 12 دور دفن کردم ما پول 2 متر کفن نداشتم.
Her story is a reflection of many Hazara women, but she started helping others in need and now provide strength to survivors.
و ما میفهمم که وقتی تو پول نداشته باشی، وقتی مریض روی دست داشته باشی، وقتی حامی نداشته باشی، او غربت چقدر عمیق است. او غربتی که تو به خاطر خیلی مسائل، به خاطر مسئله مذهبی، به خاطر مسائل قومیت، به خاطر بیکس هستی واسطه نداره.
As Hazara women, healing is more than our ethnic identity. We need to make our own healing from gender-based violence and other forms of discrimination.
Being a woman from Afghanistan, you working all the way 20 years to build your personality, to prove yourself as an independent person, to prove yourself to the society, to the international, to all the world. We women can do and can bring change to our countries and to our societies.
Uzra Jafari shattered a glass ceiling when she was elected the first female mayor of Afghanistan.
Your husband, he knows about you candidate as a mayor. The only person who can make decision it is mine.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, okay, we talk together, but I am the person who decided to be a mayor.
Following in the footsteps of Uzra and others, young women like Masuma want to help Afghanistan grow.
As I said, I wanted to have an impactful life. I had a vision for the world, I had a vision for my country, I had a vision for my community. And that is why I came to the US to study. And so I wanted to go back to fulfill this mission that I made for myself. I was teaching girls and boys side by side. It was very beautiful to see how a generation, regardless of their gender, or they are boys and girls, both of them are working towards a better life, a better future for themselves, for their community, eventually for Afghanistan and for the whole world. And I was seeing the light of hope in girls' eyes. I was seeing how they feel when they have a different life with their parents. Their mom didn't have this opportunity.
The education of girls is a form of healing. By attending schools, girls can then get jobs and be able to earn money and support their families. This is also a healing. By working and being bread earners in their community, they force others to recognize women and see them as an active part of society, even as leaders.
I think when I went to Daikundi as a first female mayor, so I wasn't as a mayor. I thinking I have to be a role model for women. But what I find is women need more helps and then needs more courage and then more support. So I divided my job as a mayor, one plan, and then as a woman who works for women, another plan.
We Hazara women support each other in our own healing. Our leadership in government and civil society is healing. To sustain progress in Afghanistan, we need to safeguard the education of Hazara girls. We need to ensure Hazara women can be visible and can work to support their families and communities. And we need position in civil society so our voices can be heard. With the return of Taliban, everything is at risk. With every new attack, we continue to carry pain. With every loss of life, the progress of last 20 years and more is erased. Transformation is the sustained healing that uplifts entire communities.
Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani has gone. He's left the country as Taliban leaders push for what they say is a peaceful transfer of power in Kabul.
Thousands of people at Kabul airport going nowhere. Beyond the gate are planes that US President Biden promised would take them away, but it's shut, so they jostle for position, the criteria who is most threatened by the Taliban.
افغانستان ترک کردم. ما از خانه که برام برام که گفتن فقط 20 دقیقه بعد شما وقت دارین که در مساحتی که ما میگیم خود برسانین. ما چایم دقیقاً عین زمین امروز هم سرمیز ماندگی بود و کالایم هنوز کالاشویی بود که بین ماشین انداخته بودم که میشوشت. ما فقط دروازه رو قفل کردم، پاسپورت خود گرفتم و همراه یک ساک. و تمام پولی که در بیگ خود داشتم شاید $100 و یک مقدار بسیار کم پول افغانی بود. تمام سرمایه ما بود. کنمور هم زمان ما گرفتم و افغانستان ترک کردم و ما استخاره برگشتم. دقیقاً به نقطه 0-14 سال قبل از زندگی خود برگشتم. اما تفاوتش در چی بود؟ تفاوتش در چی بود که داخل وقتی ما برگشتم با 14 سال زندگی خود در کابل نگاه کردم، یک سلسله چیزهایی بود که مرا آرام میکرد. که دمی 14 سال حداقل تانسته بودم مرهم درد یک یک زن بیوه باشم روزی یک جایی یک گاهی تانسته بودم حداقل با کمک آدم‌های خیر یک زخمی را برش یک دارو بخرم که اموش ها درد نکشه. اینها برای ما آرامش میداد. در غیر صورت ما تمام چیز در باختم و از افغانستان خارج شدم.
Zahra continues her advocacy from the Washington, D.C. area. All the women I interviewed for this film share similar perspectives on the Taliban.
طالب همون طالب فقط نشان میده که تغییر کرده. چون ما حداقل هم دیشب خواندیم که در مراسم عروسی به خاطر بلند شدن موسیقی اونا برادر داماد کشتن. پس طالبش تغییر نکرده. اما طالبی که در اون زمان هم میگفتن که موسیقی حرام است، اونم هنوز هم میگن موسیقی حرام است. اما طالبی که اون زمان زنان نمیگذاشتن که بیرون شون، عالم میگن زن بدون محرم نمیتونه کار کنه. فقط یک مقدار شیوه را تغییر دادن. مفکوره عمو مفکوره است. به خاطر که حداقل بتونن اونمو تایید جامعه جهانی رو بگیرن، نشان میدن که ما خوب هستیم، در حالی که از لحاظ ذهنیت اونمو طالب است، هیچ تغییر نکرده. اما زن او دوره با این دوره بسیار تغییر کرده. زن او دوره میپذیرفت که تا حدودی با چادری بگرده.
Since the defeat of Taliban in 2001, Hazara women transformed, and our education, work, and leadership transformed all Afghanistan. Our healing is our power. But now we are political hostages of the Taliban as they negotiate with the international community. They are threatened by our power. During the years of my research, I have met many powerful Hazara women. They shatter glass ceilings to lead our efforts, like Dr. Seema Summer.
And when I see, I mean, it's very simple. We just had 300 students from one district coming to university. That was a result of course, long tiring work, but it is a result. It's a positive
that gives
result.
you energy.
Yeah, which gave me hope and energy. And I don't think we can achieve anything with gun anymore in this country.
Hazara women are more visible in society now. They are educated and have critical roles in our society as leaders and bread earners. They continue to speak up.
ما دخترها، ما به نمایندگی از دخترای افغان، خصوصا دخترای هزاره که فعالیتش بیشتر در ادارات مختلف بودن و پررنگ بودن، پیام ما بر طالبایی است که ما شکست نمیخوریم بیکنن. و از جامعه بین المللی تقاضای ما این است که طالبات تا زمانی که حق و حقوقشان را برای خانم‌ها، برای دخترها ندادن، حق تحصیل، حق کار کردن ندادن، امیدوارم که نشناسن به رسمیت.
Women, especially young women who grew up outside of the Taliban rule, will never accept the Taliban.
که او زن او دوره دیگه، او خانم هایی که دوره بودن دیگه حال چیز نیست، تغییر آمده و این را ما میتونیم بگیم که تا حدود این مدیون این 20 سال حکومت نسبی یا دموکراسی نسبی در افغانستان هستیم، چون سطح سواد بلند رفت، حداقل نسل جوان ما درس خواندن، نسل میان سال ما حداقل آگاهی پیدا کردن، چون فهمیدن که خود برقه یا خود حجابی که اونجاست او دیگه خیلی نماد یک زن افغانی نیست. ولی من فکر میکنم نسل جدید ما به هیچ صورت نمیپذیرن که امو مفکوره طالبانی رو بدون چونی چرا قبول بکنن. شما شاهدش بودین که صدها زن مبارزه کردن در قبول در اوج که طالب حاکم بود، اینا رفتن در مقابل طالب، چشم در چشم طالب ایستاد شدن و گفتن ما حق خودم میخوایم.
There are many threats facing our transformation. The education of girls must resume and continue. We must end hunger and famine in Afghanistan, which impacts women and children hardest. All Hazara women and leaders are unprotected. Disappearances, targeted killings, and genocidal attacks need to end.
We, as women, are worried about them. We want them to stand, but we don't want them to lose their lives. We don't want them to go out with burqa and accept what has been imposed through Taliban. We don't want them, but we don't want them to lose their lives again, you know. So we need a better way. We all people who are outside Afghanistan, Afghan or non-Afghans, everyone who is thinking about human rights should do something for those people. We don't want anybody to lose their lives.
The Taliban can see us now, our faces uncovered from burqa and visible in society, make us a target as women and as Hazara. When I look in a mirror, I question, what does my face reveal? A face that shows pain, loss, and struggle. I see a face that carries our revolving history. It's a face that invites danger. We are not safe because we carry this face. It's a face of turning pain and suffering into action. It's a face of perseverance, determination, and hard work. It's a face of never giving up and keeping hope alive. This face carries responsibility in our future. Our face tells a new story of Afghan women. Our face generates a movement for Afghan women, and that movement needs your support. Do not disregard us in a global conversation about Afghanistan. If you only speak of Afghan women in general, you make Hazara women invisible, and you help the extremists erase us from Afghanistan.